you push yourself out of your comfort zone, do difficult things, and build skills that will last a lifetime, you'll never be lost again.
Rebelles come from all walks of life, from 18 to 80 years old, different professions, different countries, different religions, different socioeconomic status, but they are all really like-minded. They want an adventure-filled life.
The other people who compete in this event are some of the most kick-ass ladies I've ever met. And I don't just mean because they're great navigators or because they can drive a car. These women are funny, they're smart, their jobs are like, they blow my mind because some of them are rocket scientists and entrepreneurs and some of them are moms. Just the level at which like all of these women are operating is so impressive that I want to be around them and I want them to rub off on me and I want to absorb as much of that as humanly possible.
I truly believe like shared experience in something that's really hard bonds people together in a way that other things just don't do. Digging down deep for 10 days, you know, making mistakes, having the triumphs, having the heartache, and, you know, realizing that you actually have to help your fellow competitor get to the finish line, otherwise you're not gonna get to the finish line. Having some of those experiences is like nothing else.
I say badass women.
It's pretty easy to do if you're an adventurous person that likes a challenge. I know after our first year, which didn't go very well, but I was unpacking the car the next day. And I didn't know if we were gonna do it again. It was like running a marathon. We were wiped out. I remember taking stuff out of the car and I would say to myself, well, next year we're gonna do that, take that. And next year we're not taking that. And I'm like, next year? In my mind, I'd already decided we were doing it that next year. And then we did the second year and there's still lots of unfinished business. I'm like, well, I wanna work on this, I wanna work on that. And so let's do it again. And then I'm like, you know, I want to do more strategizing. And so let's do it again. It's different every year you do it because you're a different competitor. And for some people that they continue to grow and leveling up.
When you say, I've done the Rebelle, and you meet someone else who says, oh my gosh, I've done the Rebelle too, you instantly have an understanding and a bond because you just get it.
One thing that you do have to learn on the Rebelle Rally is to ride the middle, because if you experience this and then you go from this and then you go from this and then you go from this, it's exhausting and you'll never make it 7 days. So you can celebrate your little things. Yay! Okay, that's it. What's next? You can mess it up and go, oh crap. Okay, that's it. What's next? Because if you start dwelling in either of those places, or if you start going back and forth, it's terrible. And you'll just be exhausted and you won't be able to do anything. You won't be able to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to that stupid cowbell.
It's like mistakes breed the next set of mistakes. And when you make a mistake, it's done. Nothing you can do about it. All you can do is learn from it. Don't dwell on it. You can't make up that time. Time's gone. Never getting it back. You can't go a little bit faster to make it back. You just have to go the same speed that you were going and just ride it off.
Our first year and our second day with my daughter and I had such a bad day. That was hard to rebound from because we did not have a lot of experience. It was hard to throw it in the back seat because it was, I remember when we realized how bad we were doing, we just turned on the satellite radio, listened to Jimmy Buffett, and drove back to base camp. We just kind of gave up, but it was really hard. It took us several days to recover from that. In contrast, this last year when I was competing with Melissa Clark, we were going for a checkpoint in near Ridgecrest, and there was a lot of topography that looked the same, and I was following a road that was really windy, and I'm trying to figure out how far we were going, and we finally get to a feature. I said, yep, I think we're on top of this hill. Yeah, we're good. Well, I clicked my tracker and I looked down, and the numbers are so far off. It was a moment of like, am I in a nightmare? It was 2 kilometers away. I was pretty devastated because I just let her down so much. And she was amazing. She stepped right in and said, this is what we're gonna do. And I said, thank you, let's go do it. There's a lot of resilience in doing something and knowing that your partner's got your back, no matter how bad the mistake is.
I learned a lot about being able to look at a situation and solve the problem and be like, well, I'd really like to change this, but the situation is not going to change. So how are we going to make the best of this?
You can have a horrible night of sleep, and if you let that bother you the next day, that's just that 10% extra weight you don't need on your brain. You see this with some of the good competitors, is they keep themselves in a good place right from the get-go. Just how they're interacting with their teammate. Literally, you're just, going through the motions, almost instinctive. So when we do throw the new challenge at you, it's like, oh, I got brain power to think about this because I'm not all flustered about what just happened, or you throwing me this new challenge doesn't fluster me. It's just what I do next. It's part of the process.
I don't know that I have in any way conquered the doubts or those little voices that are in my head telling me that I can't do it or I'm not good enough. There's a part of me that feels like those are always going to be there. Maybe I count those as like my little motivators or even my friends on some level. But I think after a while, when you keep accomplishing things and you keep doing things and you keep pushing through, then you almost have more evidence in the little trial that's kind of going on in your mind that's like, okay, yeah, well, I might be afraid of that, but what about this? And what about when I did this? And what about when I did that? And yeah, I think like that kind of demonstrates that I can sort of do these things. So maybe just shut up a little bit. And that little voice kind of goes away a little bit more.
In the real world, it just builds confidence. And they're just skills that we all drive. And we're all driving cars and stuff, and most of the time it's in traffic and there's situations, but just to be more confident in your vehicle makes you a safer driver, just a more aware driver. If I make a wrong turn down the street, I can figure it out. Where I see people panic, and ordinary people just panic, and I think it just kind of builds this skill set to have the confidence in in your vehicle to know that it is safe to do these kind of things, and so when whatever happens, it's like, yeah, I can drive out of this place, no matter how bad it is. Oh, it's raining or it's snowing, and it's like, big deal, I can drive it.
I think a very important trait that the Rebelle helps you achieve is self-reliance. Nobody's going to come change your tire for you. Nobody's going to come tell you how to get unlost. Nobody's going to come dig you out of the sand, necessarily. You need to do that yourself. Having done that enough years, I do feel self-reliant. I know I can dig myself out. I know I can change my tire. I think a lot of people don't feel self-reliant. We reach out to people when we need something, but there's a certain confidence that comes from knowing I got this, and I've been tested in it, and I passed, and I know how to be on my. I can solve it myself. That's huge, and that Rebelle Rally will teach you that every day.
The Rebelle has had a big impact on these women. They become friends. They hire each other. They sit on each other's boards. They travel together. They bounce ideas off of each other. They start businesses. They've worked and worked to become better and better. And not just becoming better at the competition, they became more humble, yet confident, really competent in their skill, and really matured as humans. They were ready for the challenge of what the Rebelle could do for them if they're open to it. You know, we just created this platform, and it is your movie to do with it as you will.
The Rebelle is completely an, oh my gosh, I did that moment. Because you look back at the sleep that you didn't get, how grumpy you may have gotten in the car next to a person who is only trying to help you, that you screwed up a bunch of times and yet somehow you've still made it through, that you drove up something that you never in a million years thought you would be able to drive up because you literally were standing on the bullseye of a black checkpoint. And after you do all of that stuff, you have the ability to look back and go, oh, I did that. And while you may not do that again, the next time you're faced with something that's really challenging or really difficult, or something that you just think, I don't know how I'm going to get through this, you can look back and pull that out and say, you know what? I did that, I can do this. That's what makes this event so powerful and so incredibly valuable.
It will probably change your life. And it will be hard, and you'll be like, oh my God, why did I do this? This is so hard. All of your strengths, all your weaknesses will come out, and you can address them, and you will grow as a person. It will expose the person you really are.
I think it's like one of the hardest things you could ever do, but one of the best things you could do for yourself. We don't know what happened on this rally. Something happened to us. We're done! We did it! It was really hard, but really rewarding. It's pretty awesome. Badass.
We did it! It was nuts, absolutely nuts. We're completely beat, absolutely beat, but we are so happy.
So happy.
What an
experience.
experience.
It was fantastic. You know, all the women that come here, they're inspiring, and we hope that we inspired other people to come out here.
Do it. It's worth it. You're going to get to know so many things about yourself, and you'll realize that you can do the hard stuff, even if you think you can't.
I think that's what keeps you alive, is doing hard things and learning.
When it's all done and you look at it and you look at the caliber of your competitors, you're like, oh, I think I am badass. I feel like it, but I kind of am. I mean, I hate to sound boastful, but yeah.